Welcome to Getting to Market.
Welcome to Getting to Market. What is this podcast? John, what are we talking about? I think, so we've got this little thesis statement about what this podcast is, and we have it as, it is a podcast, this is written down, it is a podcast about building products, launching them, and figuring out how to stay useful along the way. If I were to kind of describe what we've delivered so far, it is really just that last piece. We haven't really talked about anything about launching or building as much, but I do think, if I think about what is maybe the thing that interests me most about this podcast, it is maybe that last bit about staying useful along the way. We can talk about that maybe in a future episode, but yeah, how are you doing, John?
I'm doing fine. Actually, building stuff is hard. This is a while ago. So I don't know if I've told you this story or not, but I was a part of a team that started a product team and started this whole discipline. This was maybe, we'll say 12 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that. Anyway, and my leader at the time would send a GIF of Michael Cera from the movie Superbad when he was pouting on the couch, just saying, "It's hard." And so we would send that back and forth to each other every now and again because shipping is hard. And I feel like I'm learning some of that. Shipping's hard. That's what I'm doing. How are you?
And you're referring just to your role as a last mile deliverer for DHL, right?
Yes, exactly.
Or do you do UPS
exactly.
now too? Okay.
I do. You bring up delivery stuff. I did for a hot minute think I should buy delivery routes for FedEx or whomever else, and thought maybe if this whole software thing doesn't work out for me, I can be a small business owner in owning delivery routes. And yeah, my brother-in-law did it. And
did he?
Tough job. I mean, the amount of weird stories is very long. That list is very long. One of his houses that his people delivered to, they had to stop because the person was ordering dog food from Chewy to feed the bears.
Oh.
And then the delivery driver rolled up to this person's house and the bears saw the truck as food delivery for them and went after the truck.
Like Yogi Bear?
Totally. They had to stop delivering to them.
All right. So the topic of this episode is really focused around something that I've experienced recently, which is I recently got my GMRS license from the FCC. Very easy to do. You can find ways to do it online if you're interested in it. But one of the things that I experienced with this is something that I've had before, but this one was especially hitting me, so I was ready to just buy a radio, is it takes so much knowledge for some things to make an informed purchase as a novice that it is off-putting to the whole thing. And for this thing with radios, which I'm not looking to turn into a hobby or anything, trying to find the first radio to get or walkie-talkie or whatever, it is you visit a page about these products and it is just a list of features, 30 features, and no explanation of what any of those features mean. So it's just reading a different language.
Did you have to go and look up what each one of those was, or what does that even mean? What does that even mean?
But there's so many that it was hard to know where to start. And so one of the things is you don't even know what you don't know, and so it feels it's gatekeeping in its own way, trying to keep you away from this thing because it just makes it look like you need to be an expert before you figure out which of these you're going to get. And it doesn't do a great job of showing you kind of what you really need if you're just trying to get started. And so one of the things I think is interesting about these products is that one of the popular products on the market is a brand called, not a sponsored promotion or anything, but Rocky Talkie. They have a very simple kind of approach to how they market and talk about their GMRS radio. And I think it is intentionally to be accessible to folks who aren't necessarily looking to get that expert level knowledge. And so they're really just kind of promoting how you use it, which is it's for outdoors people and you're trying to talk to folks that are maybe 2 miles away, but they can't see you. And so you need a more powerful radio. So it's very value focused. And it's one of the things that my former manager was a big fan of this woman, Emma Stratton, who wrote a book called Make It Punchy. And one of the things in her book, not to give it all away or anything, is leading with the value and then getting to the benefit and the feature. And when you and I in our day jobs focus in on the features because that's what's getting built and shipped, and we're doing that because the customers want it or requested it, or it's critical for them. That's our focus. And so often we're pulled to this idea that the feature is the value without really building out for them like what is the benefit they're getting from having these features. And so I just would love to like have multiple brands of GMRs radios or whatever that it's like, here's what you get with all these features. Like it isn't just about the features, but what you're able to do with it. And that would help me be able to make a more informed decision without having to be like an expert in these sets of products, which I have no interest in being. And so I think that accessibility kind of comes through how companies are able to talk to their end users and understand them.
Did it make you like, you said when you're going kind of walking through it, that this is just kind of a hobby thing you were partially interested in, or just like, that'd be kind of fun sort of vibe more than like, I'm
Yeah.
100% into this. Did it make you want to not do it anymore? Like, actually, never mind. If it's like this, if the wall is so high, if the gate is so hard to open, I'm just going to find something else to do with my time. Like, we almost stop being a customer in the reductive way, I suppose.
So it didn't because I was interested enough in the capabilities that these provide. But it like for something else, for another product or something else that I was maybe less interested in, it very easily could have just been completely destructive to whatever my interest would have been.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have
And
wanted to
maybe
bother.
even when you would see it again on a, whatever, you're like, oh, I remember that brand. They're the ones that couldn't
Oh
tell
yeah.
me why, I'm going to go someplace else and do something different. Has it changed your whole ethos about how you build? What's if you're doing, making new things to market, bringing new ideas up? Like what else has changed kind of in that?
Well, I think one of the things, and it's something that I think you and I both struggle with and are always trying to make better, is right. Like one, we want to make clear to end users and customers like what that value is, but do we go as far as we should in getting validation that it actually is providing that value?
It's like the ideas, you have the ideas that you're going to do something helpful, but you
Yeah.
never actually know until it's out there. And maybe that's why shipping is
Yeah.
hard. We were talking about it before. Sometimes it's just hard, is because there is like I did a little bit, I did a fair amount. We'll see what happens. Did I do it enough? Is it correct? Or am I coming off like one of these GMRS radio vendors that,
Well, and how much time should we dedicate to like proving out the value that's actually being delivered versus how much time gets spent on like the research side and delivery?
or just shipping? I mean,
Yeah.
I know that I fall into a little bit of the analysis paralysis of like, well, is it the right thing? Is it this? Is it that? And then I just have to ship and get it out the door and start with the
Yeah.
principles of, make sure what you're talking about and how you talk about it matter to that person. If you're bringing anything to market, make sure it's like in the language of them and talking about a problem that they have and how that's, kind of building some of that empathy. But then at some point, I just got to ship and go and do, and see what
Sure.
happens and know that my costs. I mean, any engineering leader that's listening will be really mad at me for saying this, but generally speaking, the cost is going to be less to make tweaks to that than it would be to create a whole new, design process for a physically manufactured good, that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
anyway, so I learned something this week that I'll tell you about. I was with my dad, and my folks live nearby, and so I was hanging out with him, and had some friends visiting, and his friend was an engineer, and I think he was a civil engineer in wastewater. And so one of the things that they had to study to understand how much, just kind of how large the pipes need to be going from public areas, was the general amount of toilet paper per occasion, is what they called it, an individual uses. And so what I learned is
Yeah.
on average, on a study over, I think it was a 5-week study of public restroom facilities,
Uh-huh.
on average, the person uses 9 feet of toilet paper, or 3 meters for all of our international listeners, per occasion.
Per occasion. A visit is an occasion, huh?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think an occasion is maybe an equivalent of a flush.
Yeah. Is there a hardness and softness scale that affects the length?
There could be. There could
Yeah.
be. I didn't ask any details. This is more, I have a growing list of just funny things in my head of like, there was a meeting about that. There, like people had to get together and have a
Yeah.
conversation. There was civil engineers, very well educated,
Yeah.
very experienced civil engineers in a boardroom talking about toilet paper use per occasion. And I don't know if that's funnier to me or if it's funnier that it's 9 feet.
So you're saying that maybe like a super soft 2 could be more of like a hard 15 feet.
Yeah. You add in some personal preferences in there. Things get all kinds of weird.
I'm gonna think about that. The next time I want to tell someone that the bathroom is occupied, I'm gonna tell them that I'm having an occasion.
Just yell out that.
Yeah, they can bugger off until I'm done with my occasion.
Yeah, exactly. Although I think your occasion could also include, I'm just hiding in the bathroom playing on my phone.
Oh yeah. My thing, kind of on the same thread, because this made me think about it. We are going on a like primitive camping trip with a longtime friend of mine in these summer months, and the kids, I've taken the kids camping, but there's always been like a restroom they can use, and so I was like, we're gonna have like some issues, I feel like, with trying to get the, like, I think the older one might be okay, but the younger one's gonna have some real hangups about like, you know, digging a hole and using the hole. So I was looking on Amazon, and you would not believe, like, talk about the opposite of my radio description, like the simplicity of descriptions for finding ways to make pooping out in the great outdoors easier. Chef's kiss. There's like a million different solutions. There's different like
maybe not chef's kiss. If we could find a different way to talk about that.
There's a seat for every occasion. But I had no idea, like, did not know. And there's even one that you can use in your car, which I'm very curious, like how that's really supposed to work. Because I mean, you still gotta sit in the car, right? But yeah, so that's my learned thing is if you are hole shy and you're looking for a more refined solution, there's solutions galore on your favorite shopping site.
At some point, you just gotta agree or accept that you may not be an outdoors person, and you're like, hey, if I want all these things, maybe I just get a hotel and just go from that.
We shouldn't be gatekeepers, John. Let's not be gatekeepers on this experience.
That's true.
Maybe you just want to explore the outdoors.
Well, on that note, knowing what your limits are, we'll end the episode for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Remember to subscribe, and we'll chat with you all later. Great week, everybody. We'll see you next week, every Tuesday. Hot off the presses, a new Get in the Market.